We deserve whatever we get. What? We're, yeah, you're right, Sam. Everybody wants the war to be over. Where is everybody? The last demonstration I went to, 300,000 people were there. There was no media coverage, and we walked in front of empty windows. Congress was gone for the weekend. So they're all on vacation, and we're saying we don't want the war, and nobody cares. So what are we going to do?
The government said that they didn't care on March 15th in 2003, and they didn't. And people just don't care enough. They're too thinking about, oh, but I've got my job and I've got my kids, and we just can't, like, halt everything, and
And that's true. And that's true as far as it goes.
And that's true, but is it true for everybody? 300,000 people in Washington when the whole 70% of the country is opposed to the war, and 300,000 people show up. So where is everybody? You can't mow your lawn on a different day.
But like you said, there was no singular focus. A lot of people were there for lots of different reasons. And in this political convention I went to last week, there was a lot of that too. There were a lot of people and small groups and special interest groups that were trying to gain attention for their thing and try to pull the larger group into their thing, rather than focusing on a small number of things, or just the war, or just one thing in particular, and everybody joining in to work on that. And it's true. I mean, there are too many distractions, even in a focused group like this that's supposed to go to an anti-war march, but there are so many placards that promote all kinds of other causes, and people trying to pull everybody in a different direction.
And they're related. A lot of the causes are related. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. The money, $500 billion.
About the same thing.
Right. The $500 billion. I hear it all the time. The $500 billion that have been spent on this war so far could have been spent domestically on all sorts of things. All sorts of things that people.
Well, and let's get to that. Let's get to that. Why are we not spending money to prepare ourselves for a future? Because I believe that this whole war is about oil, right? And when the president talks about securing us and all of that, I think in some twisted way he actually believes it. He means it. He does want to secure our future, because if we don't have cheap oil, we don't have this whole life that we all have gotten very used to living. I sit down here in my car from Sorgeties, and we all do what we want to do, and it all has to do with cheap petroleum. If we don't have that, then we don't have this lifestyle anymore. So instead of spending all that money on securing the second largest reserve of oil in the world, why are we not doing something like putting solar panels on every single housing project across every inner city in this country? Why are we not doing that? Why are we not doing that?
Well, because pretty much everybody in the Bush administration has connections to people
in
the big oil industry, and that really sucks. Not to mention the fact that it really is all about oil. And even the people who get that it is about oil, our gas prices went up so high when the war hit. And it's because they want to instill some fear somewhere. We're running out of oil. We're running out of oil. There is a reason why we're here. It's oil. We need to get it. Even the people who don't get that, they've got other reasons. But there's all sorts of reasons all over the place for why we should be in Iraq, and none of them mean shit. Really. Oh my God.
Well,
that's a curse. Not said by her, not at 16.
I think Sam's reached her quota for the evening.
I didn't mean to say that. It just came out.
I have a couple of points to make about this. Is that this sort of American way of life that rightly, I think you're talking about Bush is looking to protect. Isn't even.
Not that I agree.
Isn't even across the board for everybody. I think it's a 1/3, 2/3 proposition. I think that a third of Americans have this so-called American way of life, and the 2/3 really struggle. Lots of people in the middle are really struggling to get there. They work way too many hours, and they work way too hard to try to get to that. But the 2/3 of the bottom, then not so much. So it's not really even across the board, and they're not, and that's one of the reasons why it doesn't seem to affect people equally. What you were saying about things going on, it seems to me that even the people, part of that 1/3 at the top, they understand that this strategy failed to keep oil prices down and gasoline prices down at the pump. And so even they're turning against the war, because if it succeeded, they'd still be for it, but it didn't. And now they're having to dig into their pockets more than they thought. I mean, they're willing to accept a war if it will get them something. But if it fails, then forget it. I don't like this. Nobody likes a loser, right? Everybody loves a winner, and everybody loved Bush when he was winning, but
we never were winning. We never even had a moment, I don't think, when we were winning, did we?
Well, they were there those first couple of months when it just rolled in the back.
Oh, well, I know he said it, but
in the short term, it really looked good for them.
Yeah, well, I think there was just gathering forces at that point,
It's almost unbelievable that they didn't see the resistance coming. It's just fascinating to me how they could have turned a blind eye to the possibility that Iraqis wouldn't like a foreign occupying force in their country for the long term. And that really is what they were intending all along, right? The U.S. was intending to keep military forces there basically forever.
Yeah, they're building permanent barracks all over the world, actually.
We had it in Colombia. We had it in Germany till recently. Germany.
Yes.
Still do. Substantial military forces 60 years after the end of the war. Yeah.
If they destroy their economic infrastructure, haven't they won?
Wow.
Isn't that the goal?
Wow. That is the goal.
Was it the goal?
It was the goal in Vietnam.
Right.
I would say it's the goal here. It's that's the way you dominate.
Yeah, well, right.
Yeah.
You should have been in front of the camera, Mom.
Yeah, why aren't you here?
Behind the camera.
Here, switch with me.
All right. The voice of Kathy Schmidt. We're gonna leave everybody tonight with the voice of Kathy Schmidt from behind the
Who
camera.
quit the
Thank you very much,
ZBA.
Kathy. Thank you, Kathy.
No. We should talk about that, Mom, right now. No, because it's funny.
On the next show,
What did you
we're
quit?
going to have Kathy Schmidt on in front of the camera, and Sam will
Be back.
resume her regular role behind the camera.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much for coming
Thank
on,
you so
Joanna.
very much for having me.
I really enjoyed this conversation, and don't mind her. She's not old enough to prosecute.
But I am.
Good night, all. Good night, all. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next Friday.